व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 13, Text number 28. Granena pratavyaha padavim vijigran. Granena pratavya padavim vijigran. Kroda apadeshaha Swayam advara angaha. Krodapadesha Swayamadvarangaha. Karala damshraha api akarala dribhyam. Karala damshro api akarala dribhyam. Udviksha vipran granataha avishat kam. Udviksha vipran granato avishat kam. Granena pratavya padavim vijigran. Krodapadesha Swayamadvarangaha. Karala damshropi akarala dribhyam. Udviksha vipran granato avishatkam. Granena pratavya padavim vijigran. Krodapadesha Swayamadvarangaha. Karala damshropi akarala dribhyam. Udviksha vipran granato avishatkam. Granena, by smelling, prithivyaha, of the earth, padavim, situation, vijigran, searching after the earth, kroda apadeshaha, assuming the body of a hog, swayam, personally, advara, transcendental, angaha, body, karala, fearful, damshraha, teeth or tusks, api, in spite of, akarala, not fearful, dribhyam, by his glance, udviksha, glancing over, vipran, all the Brahmana devotees, granataha, who were engaged in prayers, avishat, entered, come, the water. Translation and purport by Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. He was personally the Supreme Lord Viṣṇu and was therefore transcendental. Yet, because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful and he glanced over the devotee-brāhmaṇas engaged in offering prayers. Thus, he entered the water. Please repeat the translation. He was personally the Supreme Lord Viṣṇu and was therefore transcendental. Yet because he had the body of a hog, he searched after the earth by smell. His tusks were fearful and he glanced over the devotee-brāhmaṇas engaged in offering prayers. Thus he entered the water. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We should always remember that although the body of a hog is material, the hog form of the Lord was not materially contaminated. It is not possible for an earthly hog to assume a gigantic form spreading throughout the sky. beginning from the Satyaloka. His body is always transcendental in all circumstances. Therefore, the assumption of the form of a boar is only his pastime. His body is all Vedas are transcendental. But since he had assumed the form of a boar, he began to search out the earth by smelling, just like a hog. The Lord can perfectly play the part of any living entity. The gigantic figure of the boar was certainly very fearful for all non-devotees. But to the pure devotees of the Lord, he was not at all fearful. On the contrary, he was so pleasingly glancing upon his devotees that all of them felt transcendental happiness. Doesn't see Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamy Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschasya Deshatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Lord Varaha's response on hearing the prayers of the devotees from the upper planetary systems. Granena Prithivya Padimim Vijigran. Granena, by smelling, Prithivyam, he was able to identify the location of earth. Padavim, the position where earth is situated. Vijigran, he started searching out for that specific by his smell. Krodapadeshaha, because he has accepted the form of a hog. Krodaha means a hog. Bhor. Swayam Udvarangaha. But he, since in the form of a hog, is he something like normal? No. He is Swayam Advarangaha. He is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead with a transcendental body. Advara Angaha. His body is transcendental. And he is Swayam, the Supreme Lord himself. Then Karala Damshtropi. Now how do you bring it out that earth? Okay, you saw. You smelled it, you located it. For that, he has to place it onto his tusks. That's why he had huge tusks. Karala Damshtra. But the Damshtra was very fearful. Fearful for whom? Non-devotees. But for devotees, how are they? Api Akarala Drigbhyam. Even though Lord had huge, fearful tusks, for the devotees it was very pleasing form. Akarala Drigbhyam. For the devotees to see that transcendental form of the Lord was very pleasing. Next, Udviksha Vipran. So before entering into the water, the Lord glanced upon the devotees who were all offering prayers. Udviksha Vipran Granataha, who were offering prayers to him. Then, acknowledging their prayers, Avishatkam, he entered into the water. So in that way it says, he was personally the Supreme Lord Viṣṇu, Swayam, and was therefore transcendental, Advara Angaha. Yet because he had the body of a hog, Krodapadeshaha, he searched after the earth by smell, Vijigran Granena Prithivya Padavim. His tusks were fearful, Karala Damshtra, but Akarala Drugyam, but for the devotees, they are very source of transcendental happiness. And he glanced over the Brahmana devotees who are engaged in offering prayers. Udviksha Vipran Granatosi. Thus he entered the water. Avishatkam. So in that way, the Lord may appear in a dualistic way. For the non-devotees, he is very fearful. But for the devotees, he is very pleasing. That same very form. So we should always, like Prabhupada says, we should always remember that although the body of a hog is material, but this form is transcendental because in such a short span, he had assumed such a huge form that it covered almost the size of the universe. From the Satyaloka down to Patalaloka, he was accepting such a huge form. So material hog to assume such a form is impractical. So that Lord is not a material. Somewhere into the deluge. Deluge means all the ocean waste. When you go to the bottom of the ocean, you will find waste. And that waste will not be of a proper category. It will be like some kachada, very other things will be there. So if you have to identify an object which is lost into that deluge, the Lord should use his specific power of smell. So like pigs are very good at smelling. They know where the object, what they are looking at. So Lord had to use that specific smell to bring out the location of earth. Then what was this form of the Lord? Was this form very fearful? He was certainly very fearful for the non-devotees, but for the devotees, he was not at all fearful. He was so pleasingly glancing upon the devotees that all of them felt transcendental happiness. The Lord's glance, the devotees were able to feel it, that it's a transcendental happiness. That form, that mercy of the Lord, of having that merciful glance upon the devotees, they were very ecstatic. So, at one place Prabhupada says, how do we understand these pastimes? So for us, we cannot relate. It is beyond our comprehension. So to understand Bhagavatam or Krishna's pastimes or pure devotees' pastimes, Prabhupada says, any transcendental message, any Vedic literature, unless it is presented by a self-realized devotee, it is poison. Because they will not, non-devotees will not be able to understand and they will not be able to present it to the proper context. So unless we hear from pure devotees, the context may be medicine, but like Sarpo Uchishta Prabhupada says, the milk, nectar. But if it is touched by the lips of a serpent, the serpent lips, it becomes poison. So the pure devotees, unless we hear from them, even the spiritual topics are dangerous for us. If you hear from, that's why Mayavadi Bhashya Shunile, Hai Sharvana, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if you hear from Mayavadi, our spiritual life is doomed. You simply misunderstand the whole thing if you hear from non-devotees. And you do not get the benefit. Rather, you become a victim of misunderstanding. So if we hear from non-devotee, we become a victim of misunderstanding. Next. For a conditioned soul, it is very important to hear from the mouth of a pure devotee, who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord. And who is that pure devotee? Who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord without any material desire, speculative knowledge or contamination of the modes of material nature. Whom you should hear from? His qualifications are mentioned. Who is always surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord, no material desire, no speculative knowledge, no contamination of the material modes of nature. Only we have to hear from that personalities. The secret of success in cultivation of Krishna consciousness is hearing from the right person. We have one of the, I think, presentation, secret of success. So what is the secret of success for us is to hear from right person. And Prabhupada refers some verses based on the subject. In Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, while Kapila Muni is explaining about 3 modes, he says, we all have intelligence. We all say that discriminative intelligence. That intelligence has 5 functions, it says. So it says, Samshayo ata viparyaso, Nishchayaha smritirevacha, Swapa iti uchyate buddher, Lakshanam vrittida pratak. Now it has 5 symptoms. Now how do you identify which symptom is what? It says samshayaha. Samshayaha means doubt. Then viparyashaha, misapprehension. Nishchayaha, correct apprehension. Smriti evacha, memory. Swapa iti, and sleep. Lakshanam vrittida pratak. These are the 5 different distinctive functions of the intelligence. Uchyate buddhir, and these are said to be the distinctive characteristics of intelligence. So if you say intelligence, it performs in these 5 category phases. One is doubt. The second one is misapprehension. The third one is correct apprehension. The fourth one is memory. The fifth one is sleep. Now, how do you understand what are these 5 categories and what is the technicalities in this? In that purport, Prabhupada explains. Doubt is one of the important functions of intelligence. Blind acceptance of something does not give evidence of intelligence. So something like when you read something, if you get a doubt, means you are able to process the information and that doubt will enhance your understanding. Therefore, the word samshayaha is very important. In order to cultivate knowledge, one should be doubtful in the beginning. Atato brahma jignasa. You should inquire. Doubt means you should inquire. So when you inquire, you will get clarity. But doubting is not very favorable when information is received from the proper source. So where to doubt and where not to doubt. If it is coming from the authority system, we should never doubt. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, doubting the words of the authority is the cause of destruction. Ajñasya ashraddhadanasya samshayatma vinashyati. In the 4th chapter, 40th sloka, Krishna says, Ajñaha, one who is a fool. Ashraddhadanaha, one who is faithless. Samshayatma, who is a doubting personality. Vinashyati, he is lost. So one who doubts about the Lord's instructions or the Lord's pastimes, for him, his spiritual life is doomed. So we should not doubt when it is coming from authorized source. Next, the study to determine whether one's identity is spiritual or material begins in doubt. To see, am I body or am I spirit? This is the first doubt. Okay, next. When one is able to analyze his actual position, no, I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, the false identification with the body is detected. You understand? I am not this body, I am the spirit soul, I am falsely thinking I am made of this body. This is called as viparyashaha. Then, when the false identification is detected, then the real identification can be understood. Okay, you are not this body, you are spirit soul, you have so and so qualities, you have to act according to spiritual platform. So, first thing is, you will have a doubt about your existence. Then your misidentification that you are not this body and you are the spirit soul is cleaned off. You will come to proper apprehension about the spirit soul and its qualities. Then, sleep is also necessary to keep the intelligence in working order. If there is no sleep, the brain cannot work nicely. So why sleep is required? Because whole day the intelligence will be processing. So when you sleep, the intelligence will get an opportunity to recover back. The mind will become fresh and you will become very active. Like if you run for so many kilometers, after that the body becomes exhausted, you have to give it break. Even a vehicle, you are traveling for so many hundreds of kilometers, at least some 10-15 minutes you give break. So that vehicle cools down and again you will be able to utilize that vehicle next one more round. So similarly this body is like a vehicle. Yantra rodani mayaya. This is an yantra, it's a machine. So if it continuously works, it becomes stagnated. It becomes stuck up. So somewhere you have to give him a maintenance period. Even huge factories, they have maintenance. Similarly, this body, which is a machine, also requires some maintenance. And what is that maintenance? Sleep. When you sleep for certain hours, the body becomes regenerated. It comes back to with full energy. So that is how the intelligence is also very required for us. Next, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says in one place, Krishna kataya ruchi tomara bada bhagyavan. He's saying you have developed a taste for Krishna Katha means you are very fortunate. Bada Bhagyavan. Yara Krishna Kathaya Ruchi, say Bhagyavan. So one who is able to awaken the taste for Krishna consciousness, he is the most fortunate. But one who is not able to develop that taste, he is the most unfortunate person. Kona bhagye karo samsara kshayanmukha hoya. By good fortune, one becomes eligible to cross this ocean of nations. Samsara, unmukha, we become detached to this material world. And we will be able to cross over this ocean of birth and death. Sadhu sangye tabe Krishna rati upajaya. And how is that fortune we become? In the association of sadhus. So when we associate with pure devotees, sadhu sangye tabe Krishna rati upajaya. We develop love of Godhead. Our attraction for love of Krishna. At the final stage, it becomes love of Godhead. So, next, Sadhu Shastra Krupaya Yadi Krishna Unmukha Haya. By the mercy of Sadhu and by the mercy of Shastra, then we become favorable towards Krishna consciousness. Say Jiva Nistare, he becomes delivered. Say Jita Nistare, Maya Tahare Chadaya, and Maya, material nature, will not capture him anymore. So, how to become free in this material world from Maya? Sadhu Shastra Krupaya, Yadi Krishna Unmukha Hoya. By the mercy of Sadhu and Shastra, we become some favorable towards Krishna consciousness. Say Jiva Nistare, he becomes liberated. Maya will not touch him. Like even Akrura, when he was praying to the Lord, he said, Ma evam mama adamasyapi syad eva achyuta darshanam hriyamana kalanadya kvachit tarati kasyana. He is saying, Mama adamasyapi, I am an unfortunate person. I am a wretched person. Mam eva achyuta darshanam eva syat. And I was thinking that I will not be able to have your darshan in your lifetime, because I am not qualified to have your darshan. But it was my false apprehension, because kasyana hriyamana kalanadyaha. Because a person, by chance, if he has fallen as I am, may get a chance to see the Supreme Lord, although one is carried away by the waves of a river. Kala Nadyaha. Kala means time, Nadyaha means river. Kasyana, someone, Hriyamanaha, who has fallen into this river of time, carried away by the waves. Kvachit tarati, at some time he will reach the shore. Either sometime in the future he will be able to reach the shore. So similarly, I have become fortunate by your opportunity. That I was thinking that I will never get a chance, but today I get an opportunity to have your darshan. So to have the darshan of the Lord means that form is very rare opportunity. The devotees appreciate that in the material world to have darshan of the Lord. Similarly, Narada Muni was explaining the beauty of the Lord, because here the perspective of beauty was explained. So how do we understand about the Lord? Unless we hear from devotees, we will not be able to understand. Then who are those devotees? Those devotees who had darshan of the Lord, only they can explain about the beauty of the Lord. To inspire Dhruva Maharaj, Narada Muni was giving the description of the beauty of the Lord. He says, Tarunam Ramaniyangam. His body is very youthful. The form of the Lord is Tarunam, is very youthful. Jai Shri Radha Govinda. Like a 16-year-old boy. Tarunyam, he is very youthful. And Ramaniya Angam, every part of his body is properly formed and free from defect. Properly formed and free from defect. Ramaniya Angam. Next. Aruna Ishta Karana Kshana Adaram. His eyes and lips are both pinkish in color, like the rising sun. The early morning sun or the evening sunset sun, they will be pinkish in color. So Aruna, that is like pinkish, is Ikshana Adaram. His eyes and his lips are that pinkish color. Next, Pranata Ashrayanam Rimnam. He is ready to give shelter to the surrendered soul. Pranata Ashrayanam. Pranata means to surrender. So for those who surrender, Lord is ready to give shelter to them. Pranata Ashrayanam and Nrimnam. And anyone so fortunate to look upon him feels all satisfaction. When they perceive the Lord, they feel all happy. Then Sharanyam Karunarnavam. And the Lord is worthy to be surrendered. So, who is the person to whom we can surrender is the Supreme Lord, Sharanyam, and he is Karuna Arnamam. He is an ocean of mercy. So, this is the glory of the Lord. Next. So, when you understand these glories of the Lord, what will devotees do? Nanu adamayi kuruvanti Kushala Swartha Darshinaha Ahaituki Avyavihitam Bhaktim Atma Priyayata. Says, certainly expert personalities, Kushalaha, Swa Artha Darshinaha, when they are able to perceive their own true interest, Swa Artha Darshanaha, then Kuruvanti, they engage Ahaituki Avyavahitam Bhaktim, uninterrupted, unmotivated devotional service. So when you understand about the Lord, when you hear from pure devotees, you automatically engage in pure devotional service. Ahaituki avyavahitam bhaktim. And to whom? Adhame. Directly unto me. You will engage that devotional service unto me. Because atma priyayata. Because I am the most dear to the soul. I am most dear to the jiva. And you engage in my devotional service. So Kapila Muni explains, what are the precautions to be followed when we engage in devotional service? He says, Shraddhadanaya Bhaktaya. So for a devotee who is very faithful, Shraddhadanaya, Vinitaya Anasuyave. So who is very respectful to his spiritual master, Vinitaya, Anasuyave, who is non-envious, Bhuteshu Krita Maitraya, who is friendly to all living entities, Bhuteshu Krita Maitraya, Shushrusha Abhirataya cha, and eager to render service, Shushrusha, with faith and sincerity, Abhirataya, and engage in devotional service, instruction should be given to that devotee. So spiritual master also thinks whom to give devotion, whom to instruct means this qualification should be there within us. Shraddhadanaya, Bhaktaya, Vinitaya, Anasuyave, Bhuteshu Krita Maitraya, Abhirataya, Shushushacha. Only they can receive this knowledge. And further he explains. Bahirjata Vairagaya, Shanta Chittaya Dhiyatam, Nirmatsaraya Suchaye, Yashyaham Preyasham Priyaha. He says, those who are Dhiyatam, instruction should be given to by the spiritual masters to persons, Dhiyatam, Yashya aham preyasam priyaha, who have taken the Supreme Lord as the most dear than anything. Preyasam priyaha. For the devotee, the Supreme Lord is the most dearest person. For them, because they are nirmatsaraya, because they are non-envious of the Lord. And suchaye, they are completely clean. And bahirjata viragaya shanta chittaya, whose mind is very peaceful, shanta chittaya. And bahir jata viragaya, who has become detached from inside and outside, and who has become attached to Krishna consciousness. Viragaya, detachment from matter and attachment to Krishna, complete inside and outside. And who is samachittaya, shanta chittaya, who is peaceful in his disposition. Only Guru should instructions such a disciple. Next. Ya idam shuniyadamba. Oh my dear mother, please listen to me. Shraddhaya Purusha Sakrit. Once, with faith, a person, Yova Abhidatte Matchittaha, one who chants about me, and one who thinks of me with faith and affection, Matchittaha, Sahi Eti Padavim Chame, and very soon he will go back home, back to Godhead. So, anyone who meditates upon the Lord with faith and affection, Ya Purusha Shraddhaya Matchittaha, and who hears and chants about me, Ya Idam Shrunuyad Abhidatte, surely goes back home, back to Godhead. Sakrit Sahi Yeti Padavim Chame. He will easily go back home, back to Godhead. So it is important that we hear Shraddhaya and we chant the holy name of the Lord. And we should get that instruction from the spiritual master. We have qualifications of the spiritual master, then we have requisites from the disciple also. So Lord, when he comes, he shows mercy to various personalities. Like when Krishna had appeared, first he showed mercy to Devaki and Vasudeva in the jail. First he showed them the four-armed form, then he became a baby. Next, he showed mercy to Yashoda Mata. Yashoda Mata wanted to tie him up. She did whole endeavor, she could not tie him up. Then Krishna felt merciful, my mother became so, so exhausted. So feeling her exhaustion, he showed mercy so that he could be bound up. Then he forgave Indra for Govardhan Puja. Indra became very proud and he wanted to punish the Vrajavasis for diverting his festival to worship Govardhana hill. So Krishna brought Indra under control, and finally when Indra came and paid obeisances and requested forgiveness, Lord forgave him, Lord showed him mercy. He did not punish him. Then forgave Brahma for stealing the cowherd boys. So Brahma was also thinking, who is this personality, that forest boy who is playing around in the forest? He could not be the Supreme Lord. So he doubted and he stole away the boys and calves. So Krishna showed mercy by expanding himself as all the boys, not only to Brahma, to all the other parents who are all there in Vrindavan, who are aspiring to have Krishna as their son. So Krishna showed mercy to them also. So when Brahma came, he begged forgiveness from the Lord. My dear Lord, just as a child does some kicking to the father or the mother, and mother doesn't become angry upon the child, please forgive me in a similar manner. Like a lover, sometimes out of happiness he bites the opposite person. So that the opposite person doesn't take it seriously. So in that way, my offense, please forgive me. He gives various analogies. And finally, he was very merciful to Krishna, he was very merciful to Arjuna in the form of Bhagavad Gita. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Krishna Kripalu Arjunera Laksha Kariya. Krishna was very merciful. Keeping Arjuna as the target, Laksha Kariya, Jagatera Raki Achena Upadeshadiya. He has given the protection to the whole world in the form of Bhagavad Gita. Purva Ajna Veda Dharma Karma Yoga Jnana Sabasadi Shesha E Ajna Balavan. So Krishna explained in Bhagavad Gita various topics. Veda Dharma, Karma, Yoga, Jnana. But at the end, he concluded Bhakti is the best. So we should accept the conclusions. We should not accept the initial topics. Although Krishna previously explained the proficiency of executing Vedic rituals, performing fruitive activity, practicing yoga and cultivating jhana, the last instructions are most powerful and stand above all others. So at the last he said, Bhakti, Sarva Dharman Parityatya, Manmana Bhava Madbhakto. So these are the last instructions and they should be given the highest priority. Conclusions are always highest. Ye ajna bole bhaktera shraddhaya yadi hoya sarva kama tyaga kari se Krishna bhajaya. So Shrey Ajna Bole, on the order of the Lord, Bhaktera Shraddha Yadi Hoya, if he becomes faithful, Sarva Karma Tyaga Kari, by renouncing all the activities, Say Krishna Bhajaya, he engages in devotional service. That is the final instruction. Sarva Dharman Parityatya Mamekam Sharanam Raja. Quitting up all unnecessary activities and engage in my devotional service. And this is the final instruction of Bhagavad Gita. This is the mercy of Lord Krishna upon all of us in the age of Kali. So similarly, because this material world is always a place for struggle. So how do we understand it? And how do we practice it? So devotees were there in the western part. So there was always a opportunity to engage in Prabhupada's personal service. Everybody want to do some service. But service doesn't come easily. There was one devotee by name Indrajimna Swamy. Now he is Indrajimna Swamy. So he was there in the temple, and while Prabhupada was going away, he had $10 with him. So he put it into an envelope and he said, "Thank you, Prabhupada, for coming to our temple, giving such a wonderful association. and for your service, this is what I have. And he gave that letter to Prabhupada. So he was thinking whether Prabhupada would have seen that envelope or not. I am not sure. After 15 days, they received the response from Prabhupada. So Prabhupada writes, Dear Bhakta Brain, so I heard from your authorities, you are such a nice devotee, engaged in nice service. And thank you very much for your donation of $10 for my book fund. Sincerely keep practicing and one day you will become perfect. So this was the instruction. So after some days, Prabhupada was looking for some devotees who can help in setting up ISKCON in Paris. There were already some devotees, but he wanted somebody who can, like a GBC person, who can take command and who can do things nicely. So Prabhupada wanted this temple president Bhagwan to go there. So Bhagwan was looking for one assistant who can help him out, because suddenly going to Europe, US people going to Europe to learn the language, you require somebody else as assistant. So he was asking all the devotees, is there anyone who can come and help me? Then this devotee, he raised his hand, he said, I know, I had once traveled the entire Europe. I had gone to Germany, I had gone to Spain, I had gone to London, and I had gone to France. So I had visited various places, and I know how to travel, all these things and all, where to go, how to go, when to go. So I have all the details. And this devotee was in good relations with Bhagavan. Bhagavan said, yes, you can come with me on one condition. You have to book for both of us the tickets on the same flight in which Prabhupada is going to Paris. So now he was very happy. Then immediately he called up the devotees in New York temple from where Prabhupada was supposed to fly. He contacted the flight number. He called up the agent and he said, do you have Abhay Charanarvinda Swamy on the flight? Mr. Swamy on the flight? They said, yes, Mr. Swamy is there on the flight. So I want to make reservation for 2 more devotees. That lady from the opposite side said, no, the flight is already full. We can't do anything. Then he started explaining, no, it is very important. He is my spiritual master, I have to travel with him. So for a Western person, spiritual master is something new. He is what? They said, he is what? No, he is my spiritual master. What is spiritual master means? Like he is like a guru who gives us guidance. He is like Jesus Christ to the Christians. He is the Lord and he is the guide and he is the master. Oh, okay, give me some time. Then she went back to her supervisor. She came after 2 minutes and she said, yes, we made an arrangement for 2 devotees and you can fly with your spiritual master. So he was very happy. So they went to the New York, they stayed there, and very soon Prabhupada was supposed to fly. So he, anticipating that there will be too much crowd, he and Bhagavan went away very early. And Prabhupada's car also followed fastly, but all the other devotees got stuck up in the traffic jam. So these devotees, 4 devotees reached the airport. So they, after submitting their passports, they went for the security check. Prabhupada had one bag with him always. So that bag was used to have his checkbook, his personal belongings, and there used to be one secret white bag into which Prabhupada used to keep some documents, all these things and all. So devotees used to always wonder what is there in that bag. Because Prabhupada would never allow any devotee to touch that bag. Even his personal servant will never touch that bag. So devotees were always curious, what is there in that bag, so that Prabhupada is not allowing us to touch. So they went to the security checking person. The security checking person was asking Prabhupada, open the bag, I want to see. He was becoming little roughly. Then this devotee went to near the security's face and I said, if you speak one time more roughly like that, I am going to smash your face. Then the security wala went back. I thought you people were all Shanta, very peaceful person. You are talking like a rough person. Please understand whom you are talking to. You are talking to a pure devotee. You should not talk like that. Then okay, you open the bag. Then he took that bag, and because that bag was not opening, it was bag from India, that very old bag. So as soon as he suddenly opened, it opened. It was like he was mesmerized. Okay, bag opened suddenly. Then he was seeing inside what is there. Then there were some personal belongings like some glasses and all these things of Prabhupada. Then after seeing that, security person said, show me the bag. After seeing, he said, okay, chalo. So he and Prabhupada started walking towards the flight. The other two devotees went to customs and they were clearing the aspects for all the four devotees, because you are travel to other country means you require that customs approval, all these things and all. So Prabhupada explained to this devotee, because people in this material world associate with modes of nature, they have no good qualities. Do you understand, Indradyumna? Prabhupada was speaking to him personally. That was the first time he was in close with Prabhupada in his entire life. Nothing went into, he said, oh yes, Prabhupada. Then, after some more again, he said, they are hovering on the mental platform without Krishna consciousness, with all bad qualities. Do you understand? He said, yes. Just before boarding the plane, Prabhupada again stopped and said, because people associate with modes of nature, they are going down. But if you can revive their Krishna consciousness, they will develop all good qualities. Do you understand? Now he understood, yes. We have to revive their Krishna consciousness, or else they will be going to the bottom of the material, like they will be getting into lower forms of life. So hearing 3 times, he could understand, yes, this is the mission. We have to revive the Krishna consciousness in everyone. So then they went on to the plane. He went on to the plane. He sat next to Prabhupada, and he was thinking, he wanted to show off to Prabhupada that how nicely he can chant. He was focusing on chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He was trying to feel that he was listening nicely. Prabhupada should feel, yes, he is chanting nicely. After some time, Prabhupada said, I am hungry, where is prasadam? So in that trouble, they didn't know where the bag, prasadam bag, all these things and all, but one devotee while getting into the flight gave him one bag with oranges. So he immediately took a plate, took a knife, and he started cutting the oranges and he served to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada honored the oranges and Prabhupada sucked the oranges and he left the things on the, then he said, for you prasadam. He was thinking there were only 3 oranges and Prabhupada had ordered. So he said, there is no prasadam. Prabhupada said, yes, there is Maha Prasadam. Maha Prasadam. Then he started eating. Then Prabhupada showed, this is Maha Prasadam, eat. Then he started eating. Then out of enthusiasm and out of he started eating the orange peels directly. And that peels are so strong, as soon as he started eating one peel, it became his throat started burning and there were tears from his eyes, and somehow or other he swallowed all the orange peels because Prabhupada said, eat Mahaprasadam. And he had a different feel and experience. And after some time they got down. When they got down, then Shyamsundara came to pick them up from the London temple. So at London temple, then they were waiting and devotees were all there. Finally, they found out one bag of Prabhupada which had all the commentaries and books was not come. So at the time, Shyamsundara was thinking somebody has to wait here to bring that bag so that Prabhupada will not get delayed. We will proceed further. So they were looking for someone, and this devotee, he was the youngest of the 4. So he was hiding behind a pillar so that he will not be asked to stay back. But Shyamsundara said, yes, Indradyumna, you stay here. And when that bag comes, please bring it. It's very important bag. Prabhupada's very important bag. Then he was thinking, I have been found out now what to do. They went away. Outside there were some hundreds of devotees. They were chanting. There will be nice reception. When Prabhupada goes back to the temple, there will be an invitation speech and there will be nice feast. He was thinking and all, what unfortunate person, I am sitting here. So he was running to the counter, this counter, that counter, and inquiring for the bag. After 2 hours, they finally found out that bag and they brought and handed it over to him. And that bag was so heavy that he was not able to carry. So he was dragging it. And he came out and it was raining and he was looking for a taxi. He said, number 7, Beauty Palace, please take me there. So the way he pronounced to American accent to British accent, that person could not understand. He said, Bury Place? Bury Place? Where do you want to go? This Beauty Place. Something like that. They could not understand the accent. No, you are that, you please take me to the temple where our devotees are. Oh, you are that one of the people who roam in the street and do Sankirtan? Oh, I'll take you there. So they got into the bus and he was crying. What is his situation? All these things and all. So then that driver asked, is there something wrong? Can I help you? He said, yes, I am supposed to go with my spiritual master and I am supposed to be with him. See my unfortunate situation, I am lagged around 2 hours and this rain, all these things and all. Whom are you supposed to go? What is spiritual master? Then he said, forget everything, you can't understand, I can't explain to you. So then finally he reached the place, he knocked on the door. So one devotee came and opened the door and the devotee was very blissful. He was licking his fingers because in between eating prasadam he came there. So when he went there, he had asked, who are you? He said. So I am so and so devotee who had come with Prabhupada and they had left me in the airport to carry this bag. So okay, then please come inside. When he went inside, all the devotees were sitting around, empty plates were there, everybody were licking. It was only some leftovers of some chili or something like that. Nothing is there on the plate. He had asked, Prabhuji, I am very hungry, can I get some prasadam? Prabhuji, you should have come 2 hours before. Then you should have got prasadam. Everything got over. It was such a nice experience. Prabhupada came here, he gave a wonderful lecture and there was nice kirtan, everybody danced and there was nice feast. You missed everything. Then he said, please can you help me in carrying this heavy bag top to Prabhupada room? He said, I am so full, I cannot even put a step. Please carry for yourself. Now he is very exhausted. Now he is cursing, he has not taken bag. Somehow or other he carried that bag into the top of the floor and the steps were so steep and they were heavy steps. Like generally 6 inches the step. But in this temple the steps were almost like 9 inch or 1 feet. It's like double step size. So somehow he dragged the bag onto the top. When he went there, he saw one room. He is Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swamy Prabhupada. Because he just knew, he did not understand the etiquette, he was supposed to knock the room. So he was dragging, from behind he was dragging. He went into the room and suddenly the servant of Prabhupada said, Arey, be careful, you are supposed to bump into Prabhupada. Then immediately he turned back, left the bag and saw Prabhupada was standing there with this distance, 1 feet distance. So he immediately fell down at Prabhupada's feet and he paid obeisances and he started Namo Vishnu Pada. Suddenly Prabhupada gave him a hard slap. So hard slap and he got shook up. Then he started continuing the prayers. Prabhupada said something he could not hear and Prabhupada went away. Then he got up and he asked Nanda Kishore, what happened? Prabhupada gave you a hard slap. That I understood, that was so hard, I understood. But what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said, so much endeavor in this material world, but when I take you back home, back to Godhead, everything will be easy and sublime. So, because of seeing of the struggle, and Prabhupada said, when I take you back home, back to Godhead, it will be easy and it will be sublime. See, Prabhupada gave the assurance for the devotees that he will take us back home, back to Godhead. We have to keep doing our services without expectations. Like similarly, there is one more interview with Prabhupada. One Westerner was asking Prabhupada, what is problem in eating eggs? Prabhupada gave 4 reasons why we should not eat eggs. He says, as soon as there is an egg, the living entity is already there. So there is every opportunity. You put it into, what do you say? Eggs are what do? Incubation. Automatically living entity will automatically come out of it. So there, first thing is, a living entity life is automatically there into that egg. Second, that person, Mr. John, true, but the egg in the mother has been fertilized by the male sperm, whereas the egg laid by a chicken was not fertilized. Male versus female, there is a process, something like that. But Prabhupada, not necessarily. They have got the potency. There are 4 kinds of birth. So automatically sometimes you don't require that sperm. Automatically, if the hen lays the egg, from that the child can come. Third reason, not that every time the male-female combination is required. There are other sources also. And the 4th one, we do not recommend or prohibition of eggs because living entity. It is not very good food. It agitates the senses. Therefore, we prohibit. So these are the 4 reasons Prabhupada says why we should not eat eggs. So Prabhupada was practical and he was realistic. When he says something, it is as per his profound knowledge. People don't understand all these things and all. They start commenting and they start criticizing aspects. So we have to be very careful. That's why hearing from authority will give us the confidence and sufficient knowledge how we can practice this Krishna consciousness in this world and how we can also communicate to others, because we all go out for preaching. When people come across, so these 4 points, if you remember, you will be able to say why we should not eat. These are practical. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की, हिताय गौर प्रेमानंद.
హరే కృష్ణ టెంపుల్ వారి మరో అపురూప కానుక హరే కృష్ణవాణి ఆధ్యాత్మిక మాసపత్రిక. ఇప్పుడు మొబైల్ యాప్ ద్వారా కూడా సులభంగా పత్రికలు చదువుకునే సౌకర్యం, వార్షిక సభ్యత్వం, భగవద్గీత, భాగవత ప్రవచనాలు, స్ఫూర్తి సందేశాలు, ఇంకా మరెన్నో సదుపాయాలతో హరే కృష్ణవాణి మొబైల్ యాప్ నేడే డౌన్లోడ్ చేసుకోండి. మరిన్ని వివరాల కోసం కాల్ చేయండి 913310